Good morning, everyone. Habari Gani. How are we doing this morning? We are here for the Kwanzaa Reflect-A-Thon. I'll wait a minute while people come in. Okay. Oh, good morning. Let me turn off the dishwasher because I'm sure it's quite loud. One moment. Please hold. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Pat. Thank you for joining. Oh, I left my tea. The girl's not ready, but that's okay. That's what a cozy Kwanzaa Reflect-A-Thon, excuse me, is about. All right. So today's principle is one of the principles that I actually find hardest to talk about, and that is Ujamaa, cooperative economics, uplifting the community. So to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Um, you know how I feel about, good morning, Regina Renee. You know how I feel about the idea of cooperation in Kwanzaa and how important it is. So I'm really looking forward to our discussion today. I have the morning frog in my throat. It'll just be what it is. Let me get the principle up here and we will start chatting. So I guess my first question to you is, what does this principle mean to you? What does Ujamaa mean to you? Um, I remember first encountering Ujamaa in political science. I took my undergrad was in political science and sociology, and in my political science class, I did um, a course called, I think it was called African Politics or something like that, and we studied. I think we studied a was it Tanzania? I think it was Tanzania, but I don't know. I didn't do very well in that course because life at the time. But I remember learning about Ujamaa as a principle, and I learned about it as like a like a socialist principle. That's how I learned about Ujamaa first. So it was interesting to see it come up as a principle of Kwanzaa, or to find out that it was a principle of Kwanzaa and it was related to economics. So yeah, perhaps I should go back and remind myself as to what Ujamaa stood for and what it meant politically. But anyway, for those of you who are new, the Kwanzaa Reflect-A-Thon is an opportunity each day to sort of think about the Kwanzaa principles, to reflect on how they are showing up as themes in the books that we read, to talk about what they mean in real life, and also to just hang out together in the morning during Kwanzaa. So if you're rewatching or watching the show after it's gone up, that is what we are doing today. And yes, so to build and maintain our own stores. So just again, to focus on these two things. The Kwanzaa principles not only talk about building, so initiating something, but also maintaining it, right? So I do think that there's something to be said about making sure that what you build is sustainable and thinking about what you need to put in place in order for it to remain, to be lasting. Um, and I think, you know, in the booktube community, because the booktube community is an economic enterprise, whether you are a booktuber or a content creator because you want to make money, or whether you're a content creator who exists so that other people can make money. So like the authors that you talk about, for example, so that they can keep on writing, which is one of the reasons that I do booktube. um, Cooperative economics comes up a lot. So building and maintaining our own things, not necessarily stores, shops, and other businesses, but it can also be projects that create revenue in some sort, either financial revenue or other kinds of wealth, right? Like community wealth and so on, because economics isn't only about money, although it is largely about money. But anyway, the idea of building and maintaining our own stores. You can't build without maintaining. You can't maintain something that hasn't been built. So those two concepts are paired again, which is what we saw yesterday when we talked about Kujichagulia, Ujamaa, sorry, for collective work and responsibility. So to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses to profit from them together. So what Black-owned bookish businesses have you supported this year? And what Black bookish businesses would you like to shout out? I have a few. One moment, I want to get something to show you. One day I will show you my collection of things, but of course, I'm sure you can guess, my favorite bookish Black business is Melanin Eclectic. And so Melanin Eclectic is a business that was created by Brittany of the YouTube channel of the same name, although there will be other channels. And so she does a whole bunch of things, like she makes stickers, she makes bookmarks. This is one of her bookmarks. She created this planner as well. This is her second planner. You've seen me talk about the first planner. And in the planner, she's got such amazing art and dots. It's got dots instead of lines. Dots are my favorite as well. So yes, I'm really looking forward to starting the planner this weekend and doing maybe a plan with me video. She also has metallic bookmarks. So yeah, she's one of my favorite Black bookish businesses. Another one is Sister Sci-Fi. And Sister Sci-Fi is an online store that you can go to buy all of your science fiction and fantasy and speculative reads. And the website is sisterscifi.com. I don't know if you can see that. And then BLF Press is also a publisher that you should know about, BLF Press. And our work is not yet done. So this is a bookmark that they gave me when they sent me a anthology of Black speculative fiction written by Black women called Black to the Future. And so, yes. Also, it's not a business, but it is an initiative. So there's Voodoo Knots Summer Workshop, or Voodoo Knots Workshop. And this is a workshop created by, I'm going to forget everybody's name, but there's LP Kindred, there's Hugh, Morning Frog, Hugh, Shingai and Jerry Kagunda, and Yvette. I don't have Yvette's last name on the tip of my tongue, but they do workshops for emerging Black writers. There's also Faya literary magazine of Black speculative fiction, and then also the FireCon conventions. So there are a lot of, there's Rebel Women's Lit, which is a supportive space book club library run by queer women out of Jamaica. There's so many amazing initiatives and businesses that are out there. So yes, please share those that you have heard about and that you support. So Regina Renee, Sister Sci-Fi, and Shop at Matter. I have not heard of Shop at Matter. I will look it up. Olive Tree Books and Voices, and Frugal Books in Massachusetts. Yes, you love her bookmarks, and the first planner won you over with all things mer people. Yep, Sister Sci-Fi is awesome. Procrastiplanner, etc. is your favorite Black-owned business for the writers among us. Okay, I've never heard of them. Okay, cool. So keep sharing any shops and businesses that you follow. This year, I was really happy to see that Noria from Chronicles of Noria came out with a whole bunch of stuff for the Fuck-A-Thon. So there are t-shirts and mugs and all sorts of things that you can get online. And also Bree from the Locked Booktician, she came out with a whole bunch of stuff for Blackoween, stickers. What did I get? I got something else besides, a keychain, like charms and stuff. So there's a lot of things that you can get. Okay, so to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. So that's like the other part of it, right? So not only are you building and maintaining these spaces, but when the spaces make money or when they generate resources, we are able to profit from them together. So I'm curious about the ways, so for the businesses that you have, the businesses that you've talked about, what are the ways that you profit from them together? So for me, the way that I profit and the way that I see profit coming to me is that like creativity is wealth, and the ability to innovate and to think about something in your mind and then see it actually happen is wealth. And so when I support writers or creators of content, and when my support allows them to keep on going and to create more things that I like, or to tell stories that speak to me, I find that extremely powerful. And I feel that that's my way of profiting, right? It's not profit in the traditional sense, but it's really meaningful to me. So supporting the 2021 Melanin Eclectic Planner allowed me to contribute to a community that got very excited about the 2022 planner. So there's that. Yeah. So how do you profit together? All right. So as you know, the Kwanzaa Reflect-A-Thon is an opportunity for us to not only discuss the principle of the day, but also to talk about books that we've read during the year that remind us of the principle. Now, I have to admit, Ujamaa, Cooperative Economics, is one of the hardest principles for me to speak about during the Kwanzaa Reflect-A-Thon, because the first thing that I think of is like actual economics and having your own business and all of that kind of stuff. And I don't read a lot of books that are about businesses or about, owning your own shop or things like that. So it takes me a minute to actually find books that speak to this principle. But one book, and we've talked about it before, one book that comes to mind. So I will say, please include in the chat, like write in the chat, any titles of books that you read this year or books, period, that remind you of cooperative economics. So one is, where is it? I think it's in my back shelf. Let me just grab it. But the first book that I can think about, that's so funny. That's so funny, Regina Renee. I was thinking of, I was going to mention Akata Witch. It's up there. So let me pull it. So I was going to mention Akata Witch. That wasn't the one I was thinking about. But I do like the way Right, let me look around. You can put your books in, and I will take a look at my shelves, and I will choose some books that talk about cooperative economics. This really, I haven't actually talked about this book a lot. So I've got two. Let's see. Okay, I am onto my middle shelf. And I'm also choosing, oh, yeah, this is an interesting one to talk about. It's nice to be able to look at your books through the Kwanzaa principles, because when you're reading them, you might not actually be thinking about those principles. I'm wondering, I haven't read The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I always like to have a couple of N.K. Jemisin books that I haven't read, but I'm wondering if folks have read that book and what you think of it. Okay, I've got a graphic novel that I think you might find interesting. And let's see if there are any others I want to talk about before I return to you. Okay, obviously this trilogy. And I think books that have some kind of like rebellion involved are also good choices. Let's see. Is there anything else? Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think I have a few to start talking about, and I'm sure as we continue, there'll be a few more. Okay, so the first book in my stack. Okay, so let's start with Akata. Did I pull it out? Okay, so let's start with Akata Witch, because it was mentioned by Regina Renee. So Akata Woman is coming out. Is it this year? So I'll read the first one. So Sunny lives in Nigeria, but she was born in New York City. She looks West African, but she's an albino. She's a terrific athlete, but she is so sensitive to the sun that she can't play soccer during the day. She doesn't seem to fit in anywhere. Then she learns why. Her classmate Orlu and his friend Chichi reveal that they have magical abilities, and so does she. Sunny is a free agent, overflowing with latent power, and she has a lot of catching up to do. Soon, Sunny's taking a crash course in magical history, spells, juju, shape-changing, and dimensional travel. Her new world is a secret from her family, but it's well worth all of the exhaustion and sneaking around. But there is a dark side. Just as she's finding her footing, Sunny, with Orlu, Chichi, and their American friend Sasha, is asked by the magical authorities to help track down a criminal. Not just a run-of-the-mill bad guy, a real-life hardcore serial killer with abilities far stronger than theirs. Ursula Le Guin and Diane Wynne Jones are Nnedi Okorafor fans. As soon as you start reading Akata Witch, you will be too. This is young adult fiction, and it was written in 2000 and... I actually can't find a publication date. 1 second. Why would that not be there? (2011). So that's Akata Witch. And then there's Akata Warrior. Now, the cooperative economics part of this is that it comes into play once you get into the world that Sunny discovers. So she learns that she is that she has magical abilities. That's not a spoiler. And when she learns about those magical abilities, she also learns about a particular kind of currency that she can earn. And you earn currency by learning new things. And that is a very powerful thing. So that means like children can earn money and or earn that currency by learning. And conceptually, that's really, really beautiful. So yes, the currency is based on new knowledge and lessons learned. And there's this moment where the main character learns something and all this all this currency falls, and you can hear it. It's just really, it's beautiful how it happens. There's Ujamaa principles and parable of the sower as they are building their community, pooling resources and earnings. Yes, and I will pull it again. We talked about parable of the sower and parable of the talents yesterday. And so there's that parable of the talents and parable of the sower. I won't really talk about it too much because I think most people know about it. There also is, it's not exactly Midnight Robber there's this really beautiful, actually, Midnight Robber and Brown Girl in the Ring pick up these themes. So I'll read Midnight Robber first because, Brown Girl in the Ring is on my altar. That's why I can't find it. Okay, so this is by Nalo Hopkinson, who's my favorite author. Midnight Robber was written in or published in 2000. Okay. It's carnival time, and the Caribbean colonized planet of Toussaint is celebrating with music, dance, and pageantry. Masked midnight robbers waylay revelers with brandished weapons and spellbinding words. To young Tantan, the robber queen is simply a favorite costume to wear at the festival, until her power corrupted father commits an unforgivable crime. Suddenly, both father and daughter are thrust into the brutal world of New Halfway Tree. Here, monstrous creatures from folklore are real, and the humans are violent outcasts in the wilds. Tantan must reach into the heart of myth and become the robber queen herself, for only the robber queen's legendary powers can save her life and set her free. And there is a question here about restorative justice, and also there is a community that Tantan encounters that just operates very, very differently. And that's where the cooperative economics part comes into play. So yes. Yep, got you. The only other things you've read this year were The Secret Lives of Church Ladies and psychology books. Totally fine. I like the cover for The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. Okay. Regina Renee writes, "The City We Became was my first N.K. Jemisin, and I enjoyed it immensely. It was a hybrid read for me. I'm trying to get better at reading audiobooks, and I appreciate the full cast narration." I did not know that there was a full cast narration. And Regina Renee, would you say that it's a Ujamaa book, or that the theme of Ujamaa comes up in the book? Akata Woman is January 18th. Awesome. I haven't read Noor yet. And yes, I'm looking forward to reading the Akata series again, because I read her books. I started reading her books a long time ago, but I read her first book in 2017. And I felt like, and I haven't read Akata Warrior because I like reading a series altogether, because then I have to do what you did, which is like reread the books. And I'd rather just do it all at once because I'm a slow reader and it takes time. So I'll be looking at that a little bit later. I don't know if Akata Woman is the end of the series. If it is the end of the series, I'll read the series. If it is not the end of the series, I will wait till it's done before I return to the world, because I want it all at once. We've already talked about Slay, but the main character in this book creates her own online role playing game, and I think that the way that it works, not only the currency in the game and how you earn it, but also the economics of creating the game, is an example of collective work and response of cooperative economics of Ujamaa. Okay, the other, this is a trilogy. This is the Broken Earth trilogy. And this is by the N.K. Jemisin. And I think that this trilogy really speaks to cooperative economics, because the world, I'll read the synopsis if you're not familiar with it. So the first book is called The Fifth Season. Where is there a synopsis? Anyway, okay, I don't think, that's weird. Okay, well, a season of endings has begun. It starts with the Great Red Rift across the heart of the world's sole continent, spewing ash that blots out the sun. It starts with death, with a murdered son and a missing daughter. It starts with betrayal and long dormant wounds rising up to fester. This is the stillness, a land familiar with catastrophe, where the power of the earth is wielded as a weapon, and where there is no mercy. And the fifth season, this is the first book. So basically, we have a main character who has these powers, right? The power is called orogeny, and it's the power to manipulate the earth. So, being able to like create earthquakes, create shifts, and so on. This work is stratified by caste. Everybody has a user caste. It is something that they do, and something that they are known for. And this is a world that is prone to these seasons where something really bad will happen. Like there'll be no sunlight for 5 years, or there'll be terrible dust winds, or the temperature will rise, right? Some kind of ecological, some kind of ecological disaster will happen. And when that happens, the entire society starts to operate by something that's similar to martial law, where it's called seasonal law. And that's where you have to perform the duties of your particular caste. And so we enter a fifth season right at the beginning in the first book. And as a result of this season, folks are looking around to see, like, how did the season actually begin? It begins because a mother discovers that her son, who is an origin, was murdered, and she is so upset and angry and everything that she starts this season, and she has to go on the run because origins are hunted. They are captured usually as children, and they work for the government, and their powers are captured and harnessed, and they are effectively enslaved. So again, it's like the most powerful people end up being enslaved. But where this speaks to Ujamaa is that the world is actually built in such a way that the power, the economic resources are held by a ruling class. And as we move through all three books, we see different ways that communities have dealt with and have resisted that ruling class. And we also encounter some communities that have found other ways to share resources and to work together undercover, right? Despite the world around them and how it's organized. And so it's a very epic world, epic fantasy, but I think that if you're into that and if you can read that, these are all pretty long books, like 400 and something pages. Yeah. So if you're into a tome, the Broken Earth trilogy is great. Okay. Now, three more books that I'll talk about. Four more books. The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. First of all, this painting, if you look up this painter, her work is gorgeous. Her name is Khalida Garcia Rawls, Rawles. But this series of paintings, stunning. So The Water Dancer is a story about Hiram Walker, who was born into bondage. And when his mother was sold away, he was robbed of all memory of her, but was gifted with a mysterious power. And when he drowns in a river, the same power saves his life. And he ends up understanding what this power is. I mean, it's called the Water Dancer, so it's not a spoiler that the power has something to do with water. But it's an amazing work of speculative fiction. And again, because this is written during the time period of, when the antebellum South was at its highest, Hiram has to travel to kind of escape this place. And as he does, he finds out about a community that operates very differently in resistance to this effectively slavery, right? This alternative. And so that's The Water Dancer. I think that most of the books that I have that deal with cooperative economics involve stories of protagonists who have created a way to resist, like to resist a power structure, and in doing so have had to contend with sharing resources, profiting from them together, as a form of resistance. That's usually how it shows up for me. As I say that, there are a couple of other books that come to mind. One book that I haven't seen talked about enough is Conjure Woman by Afia Atakora. I love the cover. So it's a sweeping story that brings the world of the South before and after the Civil War vividly to life. Spanning generations, it explores the lives of three unforgettable women: Miss Maybelle, a wise healer, her precocious, observant daughter, Rue, who is reluctant to follow in her mother's footsteps as a midwife, and their master's daughter, Verena. The secrets and bonds among these women come to a head at the birth of an accursed child who sets the townspeople alight with fear, spreading superstition that threatens their newly won tenuous freedom. So there's that. And then the last two books I'll talk about. This is LaGuardia. And this, I think you'll see, like, on the cover, you've got a pregnant woman who is at a protest. And this is a protest about the mistreatment of aliens in America. And you just sort of have to read it, but it is in her, the main character is very, how do I describe her? She's very, I think I would call her a socialist. She's a freedom fighter. And her relationship with plant life is amazing. And her approach to plant life, her approach to dealing with alien species is very Ujamaa to me. It's very kind of collectivist. I like it a lot. So I liked this book. And then the last one I thought I would mention to you is The Black God's Drums. It's a novella by P. J. Clark, who is amazing at writing novellas. Creeper, a scrappy young teen, is done living on the streets of New Orleans. Her sights are set on securing passage aboard Captain Anne-Marie's smuggler airship, Midnight Robber, earning the captain's trust using a secret about a kidnapped Haitian scientist and a mysterious weapon that he calls the Black God's Drums. But Creeper keeps another secret close to her heart. Oya, the African Orisha of wind and storms, who speaks inside her head and grants her divine powers. And Oya has her own priorities. So that's the Black God's drums. And as I say these things, mention these books, there are a couple of others that I really enjoy, like Kai Ashanti Wilson's. Is it up here? Is it easy to get? No. Kai Ashanti Wilson's Sweet, A Taste of Honey. Yes, A Taste of Honey. Really good too. Okay, so those are the books that I would say will take up some of the themes. And I'm wondering about Karen Lord's. No, it doesn't quite get. So if you've read Redemption in Indigo by Dr. Karen Lord, let me know if you think that it takes up these themes, because it might. All right, so this is the book stack. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have been posting these book stacks. Let's see here. You can pause your video if you're watching it in the replay. The Black God's Rums, Conjure Women, The Water Dancer, 5th Season Obelisk, Stone Sky, Slay, Midnight Robber, Parable of the Sower and Talents, Akata Warrior, Akata Witch. Oh my God, that was heavy. Okay, let's see what else you have to say. Okay, so the city we became is more Ujamaa, but Ujamaa is present. I actually think that Ujamaa will be more present in the rest of the series. Okay, well, since it is present, I will put this on the list. In Manhattan, a young grad student gets off the train and realizes he doesn't remember who he is, where he's from, or even his own name. But he can sense the beating heart of the city, see its history, and feel its power. In the Bronx, a Lenape gallery director discovers strange graffiti scattered throughout the sky. So beautiful and powerful, it's as if the paint is literally calling to her. In Brooklyn, a politician and mother finds she can hear the songs of her city pulsing to the beat of her Louboutin heels. And they're not the only ones. Every great city has a soul. Some are ancient as myths, and others are as new and destructive as children. New York City, she's got 6. So that's the city we became. I like stories about cities. Kwanzaa Principles and all of P. Djeli Clark's work. Yes. I love P. Djeli Clark's writing. Beautiful. All right, everyone. I think we're at 38 minutes. Good job. All right. We're trying to keep these down to half an hour. All right. So if you are watching this afterwards, please let us know how you're celebrating Kwanzaa. Please let us know what books you've read that remind you of the principle of Ujamaa, which is cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stories, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Please put them in the chat. And then if you would like to see this book stack, you can rewatch the video to the place that I paused, or you can follow me on Instagram, where I have posted book stacks for each of the Kwanzaa days, for each of the principles, and I will be doing so until the 1st of January at the end of Kwanzaa. Habari Gani, everyone. Thank you very much for joining again, and I will see you tomorrow morning, probably at 8 o'clock Eastern. But just make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. You will get a notification. It'll show you what time we'll be starting tomorrow, because I'm still technically on holiday. So yes, that is it. Thank you for joining. Remember to read with purpose, and I'll see you soon, everyone. Bye. End broadcast. Yes. Be well, Regina Renee.